First thing I was thinking about is what is going to be my point of view. Problems sometimes in biopics is they don't have point of view because it's only events. So I didn't want to show how Saint Laurent became Saint Laurent, but I was much more interested to show what it costs Saint Laurent to be Saint Laurent every day. So I decided to start with Saint Laurent already famous, and I can't treat his whole life. It's too long, and if you want to treat everything, you don't treat nothing, you know, because you go too fast. So the 10 years I chose, 67, 76, are for me the most crazy, the richest, and I think you have everything within these 10 years. In 67, you still have a kind of young Saint Laurent, and in 76, even if he's only 40, you already guess what is going to be later. You know? And in terms of fashion, also, I think you have everything you can dream about Saint Laurent style. All his creations, his inventions, you know. And I think the last reason is I was very interested in this period, especially in Paris, in France. It's a very fascinating and crazy period. Thomas Betrand, the co-writer, we were starting to write the script. We were writing the treatment, you know, on one page. So first act, second act, third act, you know. And third act, we wrote, okay, 1989, we go on the flash forward. And one of the important ideas is to show that Saint Laurent was somewhere else, you know. Even his body is not the same, he's someone else. And we took it literally, someone else, we're going to change actors. I didn't want to use the makeup on Gaspard, it's something I don't really like. I always see on the screen, you know, the work of the makeup artist and not the actor anymore. So I really like this change of body, you know. And the image we had very quickly in our mind is Helmut Berger. It's a flash, you know, because I think in the 70s I had these souvenirs of pictures of Helmut and pictures of Yves, quite similar, and Helmut, as much as Yves had a lot of drugs and alcohol, and his body became, you know, heavy, and there's something very moving in showing that. So it's, we can say it's a screenplay idea more than a casting idea, the change of actor. As for Gaspard, of course, it's the main point. When I was saying around me, I'm preparing the thing about Saint Laurent, everyone told me Gaspard Ulliel, and because it's true, there is a very strong resemblance. But I didn't want to stop on that, you know, it's not enough for me. So I met Gaspard, but I met like 20 other actors. We made some tests, long tests, and what I loved about Gaspard is that, you know, I think I'm not filming Yves Saint Laurent, I'm filming, of course, the actor, you know, I'm filming Gaspard. As well, I'm not filming Pierre Berger, but Jérémy Agnier. So you have to fall in love with your actor, not only with, you know, your character is doing. And Gaspard and I had the same idea that the person we wanted to, the character we wanted to create, had to be like 50% of Saint Laurent and 50% of Gaspard. I wanted something of him, you know. So it's not only an imitation, but it's something more incarnated. It's true we didn't have access to any archives or any dresses, but now the real Yves Saint Laurent dresses, there are museum pieces, you know. So it's very difficult to manipulate them anyway. So it wasn't too much a problem that we didn't have access to them. So we had to recreate an atelier de couture.
A sewing workshop. Truly a sewing workshop in the style of Saint Laurent.
And we had like 20
seamstresses.
Thank you. and they made exactly as it used to be made, the two collections that you saw in the film. When you start writing a scene or a film, I want to have in mind the sound of the film, not only the images or the dialogues, but the sound. The sound, it's not only music, it's really the whole sound. And I decided very early for this film that it would be basically split into two kinds of music. Soul music from the 70s and opera. And also that all the music would come from inside the scenes, not much score, but inside the scenes. Which I like on that. What I like on that is that the spectator and the characters are on the same level of emotion to the music. And then I realized during the editing that these two kind of music were not enough, and I added some music I composed, more electronic, in the way of these years, like 74, 75. So it's like it would be more equilibrated. It's a film also about a very depressed man, a very melancholic man. The relationship between Pierre and Yves. When I start the movie, it's in '67, and Pierre and Yves met in '58, I guess. So when the film starts, they're together for 8 years, and the house YSL is created for 5 years. So it's not my main, subject, but I can try to answer. I think it's 50 years of life together, with beautiful moments and terrible moments. I think some people that knew them very well, that I met, they told me they're like monsters with two heads. And I like this image because I think it's quite right. It's not the tough money guy and the fragile creator. It's more complicated than that. And they really found each other to create something very strong.
Two things. First, could you talk about your research? And the second thing about the dog. That scene was very powerful, the dog dying. I'd love to know how you did that.
Okay, I start by the second. The dog is very fine now. He's hanging in the countryside. He's very, very happy. And we had a very good doctor. Now, for the dog, it's true that Yves had this kind of dog. Then when the dog died, he took another, the same, and called him Mujik 2, and then Mujik 3, and Mujik 4. It's something that, it says something about his craziness, his obsession. So, of course, from this real element, I have to create something, because the film is full of invention. It's not only, and I like the idea of the dog eating pills, because it's, at the same time, quite funny and totally pathetic. About the research, I've made a lot of research. But for me, the point of doing research is the best thing to get rid of it, to take some freedom, I prefer to take freedom when I know where the reality is, so that's why I make so much research.